do. Oh well. Hey, we're live now. It's now
Are we live?
7:02. We're late. Yeah, we're late.
Well,
We're having
we had
technical
some.
difficulties, but we'll be
Well, that
up
was
soon.
my chat in the chat was around technical difficulties. I don't see us still being live.
We supposedly are.
I don't know what the lag is.
Oh,
So
the lag is probably almost a minute. Sometimes I think
is it really? Oh, there we go. We're good. We're good. I see it just popped up. Man, where'd you get that demon page?
that is from Pinterest, which Pinterest is interesting because
Yes.
Pinterest knows me, but I, of course, reinforce the echo chamber. They know I like Jack Kirby and pictures of Blondie. So I get all these Debbie Harry pictures and Jack
Yeah.
Kirby. What could be better? So
I,
anyway,
I yeah,
it's
nothing.
yeah,
Nothing.
yeah.
The
Uh,
I've been on Pinterest lately. It's funny you say that,
mhm.
even though it's something I've kind of not resisted, but just hadn't really anticipated or hadn't
It's
really
great to do a
participated.
search. Yeah, yeah. It's as reference.
Yeah, I've got some artists that I like, and I've got uh, one of them is one of the my you can make groups. One of my groups is cars, and so I'll pin cars that I like,
Hmm.
and that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's a quick. Oh, I finally figured it
Well,
out.
and I got some drawing stuff, some comic art stuff, and some art stuff, and some of that kind. I got a couple what do they call them, pins or boards or whatever.
Hmm.
But it seems like one of those things that could really be a real rabbit hole for time. You know?
Yeah, yeah, but the point is, as for reference, to do a search and to have all that image show up like it was on your hard drive, that's great. If you're looking for a reference, there it is. It's like do a
Yeah,
specific
it's
search.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So so I've been trying to build up my YouTube site. I have about 240 YouTube followers now,
That's pretty good.
which I'm pretty happy with because it seems like
Well, you've got
it
to.
took forever to get off of about five. Um, but one of the things I'm doing on my is I'm reviewing stuff. I reviewed a new there's a new version of the Bridgman book out,
Hmm.
like this book. But
Yeah. I'm going to make you big.
there's a new version of this out. It's like the fifth edition, and what they've done is they've gone in and rewritten it, and they've rescanned some of the images.
Okay, show it
And
again. Your solo layout now.
this book, the
Oh yeah,
Bridgman,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The big one tries to be a
the
completist kind of
right,
thing.
yeah, and anyway, so I reviewed that I think it's fifth edition. I reviewed the fifth edition one, and that thing's got like 14,000 views.
Yeah, that's all
And
you have to
so
do is like be timely or whatever, and people will find you at that point. Yeah.
so I reviewed that about a year ago. I've had that book for a little while, and I realized, boy, that's just a lot of views. And so I've been reviewing. I have a shelf full of art books. No, I have
Hmm.
several shelves full of art books,
Yeah.
and so I've been reviewing art books. And the latest thing I did is I did a review of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Um,
Oh, that could catch a lot of interest. Yeah.
well, I've only had it up for a couple days. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through. I did a review of it, and then I'm going to go through it and talk about it in depth. And in the review, I talked about what I thought were some of the deficiencies of the book
Hmm.
in terms of by comparison to modern drawing art books.
Modern how-to books, huh?
Right, right. And one of the deficiencies is it doesn't have exercises. It has a few, but not really. Some of these modern art books, they'll have 10 exercises at the end of each chapter. And so I'm gonna do that. My goal my lofty goal is there was a website, and I forget the name of it. I want to say it was like Animation News or something like that. And they did they hosted a blog that was by, now I don't know what the guy's last name, John K. What's his last name?
Yeah, Crick Falusi. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's like having a college course. If you went through the curriculum on John K's blog,
Yes.
you would be a very knowledgeable guy, and it's all
Okay.
there. It is all there.
Okay. So Ellis is getting ahead of me a little bit.
Okay.
So this John K. guy, who was the director of Ren and Stimpy, or the animator, or something, he was involved in
The
Ren and Stimpy.
creator,
The
the
creator.
showrunner. I think he did it all on it. He was.
He has his own, or had, or whatever, an animation studio of his own that he had animators. And he was talking about how he had trouble hiring animators because they would come in, they would know computer stuff, but they wouldn't know how to draw.
Yeah.
And so his contention was, there's a book, and I have it. It's called like How to Animate or something like that. It's a Walter Reed book.
Preston,
So Preston,
can't think of his
is it
name.
Blair? It's not Blair.
Yeah, Preston Blair. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Anyway, he anyway, so this is a book that's been around since like the 40s, I think. It's been around forever. I don't see my copy of it offhand.
It's even got a version out that he had to revise because it had, Warner Brother characters in it. And he couldn't have that out there anymore.
Right. So anyway, and it's public domain, and you can buy that book for nothing. $10 easily. And so this guy, John K. says, hey, everything you need to know to do this stuff is in this book.
Yeah.
It's just not, you just need, and so he actually, on his blog, and he did a deal where people could send in artwork and he'd critique it. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to do something similar and doubtfully as good, but it's similar for the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way book.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a very good, and my goal, of course, is to learn from it also as I go along. But I think it's a book that's sadly neglected by a lot of comic creators nowadays. And especially a lot of aspiring. There's so much crap out there in terms of just like lousy books, and and there's so much good stuff in that How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Well, you know why everybody? Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, it's so accessible. And it's such good information that I think if it were tweaked just a little bit, it would be very, very useful. And anyway, so I'm going to do a series of videos. I'll probably do them maybe on Monday or Tuesdays. I didn't do one yesterday because I just put up the review of the book. But I'm gonna go through that book, and I'm gonna talk about some of the things, and I'm going to develop some exercises that people can do as I go along, or as they go along through it. And we'll see how that goes.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be kind of cool. I think it'll be fun to do. I have no idea if people will want to look at it. I mean, like I said, the views of the review haven't been that good, but it's only been up for a couple days, and it usually takes a little bit of time for stuff, or at least with my experiences, it takes time for stuff like that to get traction.
Yeah. I mean, you could wait a long time for just the general audience to notice much of anything if it doesn't have some sort of clickbait edge to it.
Well, yeah. So anyway, so we'll see how that goes. I think I'll have fun doing it. Now whether everybody's fun watching or whatever, but I think it will. I do think there is a lot of value in that book, despite the dated nature of some of the material. Some of the material's dated, and it's better because it is dated. There are things that they teach in that book that are not are not followed. And I mean, Marvel doesn't even use it, and they should on some of their stuff for sure. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, it was, who was it? It was Buscema, right?
yeah,
That was
John Buscema.
the main go-to guy for illustrative of how to do things. And of course, the other guy was had a lot of Kirby in it, which you can't go wrong with using Kirby as your example of how to do things.
Yeah.
So it's a really great book.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I have 2 copies of it. Uh,
I think
uh,
you gave me one copy, so you've had a
well,
lot of copies.
well, the at Half Price Books they were blowing them out on their in their. They had a couple for $2, and I bought one.
Mhm.
I kind of wish I would have bought 2. I should have took it and had it.
I may have 2 copies. It wouldn't be a bad idea to make one of them into something loose leaf that you keep in a
Well,
box.
that's the thing is I'd like to take it and cut the spine off of it, the glued part,
Uh-huh.
and then have it spiral bound. I think
Yeah,
that'd be
I used to do that
worthwhile.
with a number of books, and there's a couple I have regrets about. I cut all the edges off of my Valentine Frazetta collection, and
Hmm.
those paperbacks were worth a lot of money on eBay. But
Oh, are
it
they?
doesn't matter. Oh yeah, apparently. And
Hmm.
I've got I got regrets about that. But I still have the material. I still have the
Oh, do you still have them?
oh yeah. I still have my I need to
Oh, so they
be
made the
looking through them.
move. They made
Huh?
the move. They made
Yeah.
the move to Oklahoma.
Who did?
You did. The books.
Oh yeah, they made it. They are some of the book. I took a few things, and that was among the things I took. I couldn't say bye bye on that. No, no,
Yeah.
all that Frazetta. No way.
Well, and I mean, and that's a lot of that stuff gets collected
Hmm.
in other editions, but man, it's just so cool to have that because that book was or those books were so seminal
Yeah.
to fantasy art, and I mean, like you said, the work is classic, but even just having it in that form, I think is cool.
Yeah, well, at that time, it wasn't like Frazetta was. He became really independent after that era of the Ballantine publication of that book. They went into the poster business and never looked back. Uh, they uh,
Yeah,
they would do commercial work here and there when it paid enough, but for the most part, he was in the business of just selling Frank after that.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Anyway, so speaking of books that are worth looking at again, I recently watched a video about the Bridgman book,
Oh, really?
and yeah, it was by Ron Lemon. I'm sure you're familiar with
Oh,
him,
yeah. I know Ron Lemon.
and it was an old video, and he was talking about studying Bridgman, and he had a real good breakdown. It was great. He had a history of Bridgman. He talked about why the art was the way it was in terms of like kind of rough and kind of what how Bridgman was kind of stylized and stuff and why he did it a certain way.
Uh huh.
It was a great review of the series, and it was like, okay, I need to read the Bridgman
Hmm.
books again, or book or whatever. So I've been messing with that, and it's funny. The drawing books are kind of weird because you can read them once and you'll get
Hmm.
something out of them, and then go back and read them again, and you get something else out of them.
Well, I was going to say that about the Bridgman books. When I took that anatomy course at Cal State Fullerton, taught by the guy that shows up on Proco's channel all the time, and the
Oh yeah,
craftsman, I think that's what they call themselves, or draftsman, probably. Uh,
draftsman.
now, what is his name? I'm blanking on it. Um, oh,
I know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
Marshall Vandruff.
Yeah, yeah,
And he talks about how the same thing happened to him. Here he's been immersed in teaching anatomy for ages, and he talks about like light bulbs going off on his head about what Vandruff was illustrating with one little little drawing that he was about to show us and explain. And, that sort of stuff goes over your head, like you say, and you get more out of it later. And the same thing goes on with uh, books you've read that you were ready for and were certain, but you're a certain
Yes.
age and you go back and you read it and say, my God, I had no idea this had this much depth to it or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think that when anything that you read or study, or it may even be a movie that you watch, you bring to it a certain, uh, a certain. There's something you
Yeah,
bring to it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you bring everything to it. You can't
Well, yeah,
see anything without your filter. Yeah,
yeah, but
that's
I think
Scott
what
Adams. I listen to him
yeah,
too much.
what I'm saying is, if you have a certain level of experience, and then you go back to it, it was with a different level of experience or whatever. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, well, I'm viewing this in a completely different light now.
Mhm.
What you bring to it alters the experience, I guess.
Yeah. Mhm. I had an idea. I saw. Did you see that footage of that group of people? I think there's four of them, all around a tree in India, and a lightning bolt hits it.
No,
And they all just three of them instantly drop. One guy
drop dead or
drop. Now I think one of them has been reported as having died, but it just is interesting to see because of course it happens in a split second. But it gave me an idea for a superhero.
oh yeah,
It could be called Bad Apples, and
bad apples.
yeah, you'd have the same event occur. You'd have a lightning bolt hit a tree where you had four different kinds of people around it, and two of them could be master criminals, and the other two could be hero types, and then you'd have this conflict that would emerge out of a competition over who got to spring forth as an apple from the tree and grow into a full blown live individual, and you'd have I know a guy who was struck by lightning on two separate occasions. We called him Lucky.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's Fly Fox Pro just checked in. Or no,
Oh
he didn't
wait, is
check
that
in. He was the guy that said he goes back to how to draw the Marvel way every now and then. Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah.
was. He had something on earlier. I noticed
Oh,
sounded
did.
pretty interesting on his show. Forget what it was. Yeah, I'm useless. Sorry, Fly Fox. Sounded
You're
interesting though.
you're useless at promoting his stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
or is it mysterious? I don't know.
I'm
Anyway,
just being blindy. I ought to make your screen bigger, actually. If I if I
why?
could if I could figure out.
I don't think what I'm drawing is even on the camera.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it is. Well,
Oh, is
okay.
it?
Now it is.
Now, now that I'm moving,
Now, did I just
I'm
wander? I wandered off the plantation on our topics. Let me look at some of the topics I wrote down. Have you
oh,
got
do we have
anything that's
topics?
bugging you that you wanted to talk about?
No, other than no, I'm glad my hot water heater's fixed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can't do without that, as they say. Yeah.
Well, that's I
I've heard it from everyone. Yeah.
well, you know what? We went without water for 3 days during the ice storm,
Uh-huh.
and I'm telling you, compared to that, this is a piece of cake.
Oh yeah. I
You
went up
know.
without electricity. Everything's a piece of cake when you lose
Oh yeah.
that power.
I
8
don't.
days.
Yeah. I would take. I would take no power over no water. I think.
Here we go.
But
This is what
I mean,
Fly
think
Fox
about no
Pro.
water. Couldn't flush the toilet, man.
Yeah,
You know,
Oops, there it is.
or had to, and we melted snow to flush the toilet.
Idolatry of the self: How Disney and children's media destroyed the world.
Ooh,
Well, I tell you what, a certain kind of personality in Adam Carolla is always making fun of the particular type of person that. Well, I say the type of person. I'm in the same tribe. I might very well put out a children's book someday, but he mocks the idea that children's books are anything worthy of adult appreciation in any
no, I
way.
agree.
In
I
any
agree with
way,
that.
he's always saying, you know, in that old fashioned way of his, is saying, it's kids are retards. You know, you know, it's easy to please them. Basically, is what he's saying,
Well, I
and to
mean,
be totally impressed with yourself for you know, writing for the audience is like no. But I mean, there's to be said the guys that do it right, that do it with some sort of layers that you can find. Uh, Not necessarily that you'd ever want to write for the adult, but it's like it's just fun enough that an adult would dig it. You know.
there's, well, okay. So when I was a kid, I was really into fantasy and science fiction,
Mm-hmm.
and I grew up in a small town, and so, and I grew up in, I was like 10 in 1977, so I was born in 66. And the town I grew up in had a small library, and I liked science fiction. And so I went from reading like Dr. Seuss and some of that stuff to reading H.G. Wells and Jules Verne. There was no young adult fiction.
All
I,
right.
there the
YA.
closest thing was at school. I read all of the Tom Swift books. The school had a bunch of Tom Swift books. I read those, but there was none of this. And the stuff I read as a kid, it was either kids books or adult books, and I gravitated to it pretty quick. And I don't think I. The only exception, yeah, stuff today isn't exactly Lewis or Tolkien. Exactly. I read the C.S. Lewis stuff, some of it as a kid, and I read, but I mean, I was reading, Isaac Asimov and stuff. Robert Heinlein, he wrote some kids books.
Yes. The moon is a harsh mistress. If you
That's
want to
not
call
that,
those,
that's
oh,
not a
that's not
kid's book. No, that's not one of his kids' books. I think like have Spacesuit Will Travel was one of his
okay.
kids' books. Uh, but there wasn't much difference, and it wasn't. I don't know. It was, and so I don't know. I mean, to me, I would never have. Okay, like Harry Potter, and I've read the Harry. Well, I've listened to the Harry Potter books, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But well, when I was like most kids, I don't know what the age is, but when I was 12, I read Lord of the Rings. I would have hated Harry Potter as a
Uh-huh.
kid, and it's weird to me. All the kids, I think my thing was the itch that got scratched, or the itch that I think kids get scratched on, because all this YA stuff is a lot of wish fulfillment kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of power fantasy wish fulfillment stuff, and for me that was comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of that just fills the stuff with comic books. It's weird to me how many people, and we know a bunch of them that are just like, I want to do a kids book. I want to do a kids book, and it's like, well, to me, it's nothing to. I don't know. I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think people, they want to,
Well, they think it's a way to make a lot of money.
yeah, yeah, no, there's a
No, let's
whole,
be honest about it.
yeah.
They
Well,
want to be the
yeah,
next Dog Man or whatever.
I just turned off a really cool thing I will use at some point. That was that little app I was telling you about where I got the vintage or the heritage version. Natasha says she got a tornado warning. Natasha International.
Doesn't she live near us?
I was thinking she did.
Or maybe up by Tulsa. Yeah, it was. I went when I went to work today. It was reasonable, and at 10 o'clock I walked at break time, and it was
cold.
nice. Well, not at 10. At 10 it was nice. I went to lunch at 1, and it was nice. And then I leave or at 3 I go to walk again at my second break, and it's cold outside. And when I left, it was terrible. It was cold and windy at work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it picked up. I didn't realize how smart I was being getting out as early as I got and getting my walk in.
Absolutely.
It got pretty nasty. This is working pretty well. Now I've got to share it equally, Scott, because I've just pointed the camera at Photoshop while I work.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things that I've learned from reading this, because I've been reading this Bridgman book all week. Actually, I have 3 of them. I have this one. I have one that just sits in the back seat of my car, so I don't have to lug it back and forth to work. And then I have that 5th edition I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I've picked up on is I've been drawing shoulders wrong.
Well, I have tried many times to get you to track how that deltoid goes over that pect, and I really wanted to. I was trying to clue you in on, well, for one thing, just how fun and dynamic that whole shoulder girdle is, but you've got to get what occludes what. Have you seen that video that shows? I got into a little semi-argument just now with a guy on Twitter where he's insisting that it's a conspiracy thing. Now it's a troll effort if it's somebody that has put it out with that extra layer on it, but I better explain what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're going into vague territory
I'm
real quick.
ahead of myself. I've got my nose over my skis. That lady on the top right is stellar, Scott. They're liking your figure drawing.
Yeah, that. Yeah. I was pretty happy with that, how she came out.
That sort of thing. Okay, what was I talking about? I forgot. This Biden thing. It's wacky. You haven't seen that video where his hand goes over the foreground mic of the reporter because it's apparently a bad traveling mat. But the deal
is this proof that he doesn't do press conferences?
That is correct. That's the whole thing. But the deal is, I instantly thought, well, now this may be a lefty false flag trying to stimulate conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And I thought,
back
well,
to QAnon or whatever.
But then this guy said this was the official broadcast that did appear on the news. And I thought, well, if it is, then we are looking at something that was a compositing of an image. There's just no way you can look at it but that's what's weird. I say there's no way you can look at it and not see it. This guy apparently semi-conservative, and yet he was telling everybody they're nuts for seeing it. Scott Adams said the same thing this morning, that the mic is just on long sticks, and they just aren't seeing the scale of what we're looking at there. That mic is not that big. I mean, it's not. It's right up against him, and it.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
And then his hand goes over it, and it's like. So anyway, that really bugs me that you've got somebody that can look at the same thing and not see that. But again, I'm still got a judgment on whether or not it's a false flag or a troll. I think they just added the microphone, if anything. Exactly. No, Fly Fox Pro. That's all I say is being added. It's a foreground element that they thought added something to it. that
Yeah,
you know.
sometimes that kind of perspective. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I'm talking out of my bunghole. But
I'll send it to you.
sometimes that the foreground perspective can be kind of tricky on that stuff. I'd be real reluctant to just
If you
out
look
and
at
out.
this, you look at this and tell me that that you don't see it, I will understand what was wrong with your shoulders.
See, I didn't want to tell you I was on the shoulder zipper because I knew that you would give me grief about it.
Oh, really? I'm sorry. I
Oh
didn't.
yeah. No. It's hey. I have big shoulders. No pun intended. I knew as soon as I switched it, because I remember we sat in the coffee shop and you kept telling me you got to draw that shoulder over the pectoral muscle.
Well, yeah, you got those insertions and how it plays. And the deal is, we're talking
Well, the
what goes on
deltoid is
top
weird
has to
because
go
it
on top.
twists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's okay, so my problem is or was is I draw the torso like this. I don't know if you probably can't see that, but I'll draw a torso and then, and that's the rib cage and then I'll draw the chest and I square it up and then I try and add it. And it doesn't work very well. It needs to be more in the I need to treat it just like the bicep.
You need to treat it first while you're in the generalization mode of drawing more of a action character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure. I know who Raziel is. Maybe is that Nightcrawler?
I don't know. I'm I'm
I
so
should. I probably should know who Raziel is. Yeah. As a
that's
matter
a
of fact, I think Photoshop just crapped out on me for
your
whatever reason.
Photoshop that
My new version, my CS6. Oh, there started again. There we go. Yeah, my legacy version. That's the word I was looking for the other day, or just the other few minutes was legacy. Yeah, yeah. I've got this up here. This plug-in or whatever you want to call it of a tool called HEJ Stylus version 2, and this is the legacy version, which I wrote to the company and asked them for. And watch what happens as I pull this line. See, I literally am pulling it the same way a car striper would pull a line, and it allows you just this really nice control that will be great for clean inking. Now, it's not so much necessary for what I'm doing here, a messy old painting. But you can see I'm drawing.
Manga Studio does something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it allows you, and I think Procreate. There's certain brushes that just forgive the heck out of and smooth and average your pulling of a line anyway. So there's a
Well,
lot of things that do that.
yeah, the pencil tool in Illustrator works that way. If you use the
Yeah.
pencil tool, you can turn on, and I'll do that at work a lot. Most of the stuff I draw, I'll use the pen tool because I need it to be fairly precise. But if I'm drawing like animal fur, I'll turn it on and you can adjust the smoothing is what they call it in Illustrator, but
Yes.
I'll turn it on
It is
and
a adjusted smoothing operation. But then I say that, and then it's like, yeah, first thing I'm going to do is turn this off because I'm lost patience with having to make my marks like that.
well, that's the thing is it's like what are you trying to do if
Well, it
you're
would only
trying
be
to
good if you were like getting your nice contours around a car, say, or something like that, and drawing something that was very inorganic, say, or whatever.
well, and see that's why I don't use it that much at work. I mean, I'll turn it on, but I'll turn it real low, and
Hmm.
I'll use my Wacom tablet, and I'll draw like fur, and like on because I draw a lot of animals at work, and so I'll do it, and it'll kind of take out if there's a little bit of a jiggle, but I still want it to look fairly organic.
Hmm.
I want to look because I want it to look, perfectly machine smooth in Illustrator, I just draw it with the pen tool.
Sure.
You know.
Which you know that pen tool a lot better than I do. I wish I was gifted with the. Well, you know, it takes.
All you
It
got,
would
all you
take
do, all you do is do it for 32 years, and you'll be good.
exactly.
You know.
No, that's the 10,000 hours.
Oh yeah. Well, and for me, I learned it and was paid for it. You know.
Yeah, that's my exact experience with so many things. 3D. Talking about having the legacy versions. You know, it would be. I have free Blender, but I am so envious of these people that have the version of grease pencil that is in the current Blender. I would love to be playing with what you can do with that version of grease pencil.
I don't even know what grease pencil is.
It's
Is it
a tool that gives you marks in 3D that allow you to do something more cartoony in 2D that just looks like you decided to use, you know, a pen tool on your art.
I don't even know how to interpret what you just told me.
I'm
Yeah,
not
are the
speaking.
strokes
I'm not speaking very well today.
are
They
the,
look. Yeah, go ahead.
you say it draws in 3D,
Yes. But
so you can control
whatever.
all three axes.
Yes, whatever plane you're in at the time, you
Oh,
draw on
okay,
that plane,
okay,
and then when but then you can spin it, and it's like, okay, now I'll draw on another plane. And so,
sure.
so you can move that around, and like you say, your axes will change. I'm looking forward when we get off today of seeing what that guy's reaction, my comment about his comment on the Joe Biden controversy.
Oh,
my because I'm calling it obvious. Anybody in the I'll drop that. I'm not talking too well tonight, am I?
well,
I'm gibbering a little too much. I guess it
you've
is
been in the
because
house
I'm
too long.
yeah. I may be on Drawn and Quarter tonight. I'm invited.
Oh, that's cool.
The topic is Masters of the Universe.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I may do Skeletor or something like that. I don't guess I'll do him in
I'd have
Photoshop
trouble.
though.
I'd have trouble with that.
Oh, you would?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't know my Masters of the Universe.
Oh, I don't either. I know the dumb movie. No, I say that He-Man was, you know, that era where I figured my Saturday morning cartoons were being ruined, even though I should have appreciated more of the stuff that was going on. But most of it,
You didn't realize how bad they'd be ruined eventually, did you?
Yeah, exactly.
You just thought they were being ruined.
Yeah, I just thought
You didn't know what they were up
I
to.
had no idea how much to appreciate Alex Toth at the time. You know,
Yeah.
comparatively speaking. Yeah, the dementia is definitely in tonight, Flyfox Pro. I was really proud of how I put the brackets around a couple of topics last week, but it's not happening tonight.
Yeah, it's cold.
Maybe if I got a pencil out, maybe it would be different.
You may be focusing, maybe using the speech part of your brain to work on the computer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, you were kidding. Yeah, if I'm not making fun of Scott's shoulder knowledge, I'm just no good to anybody.
Yeah.
But
I'm shaking my head.
The shoulder girdle.
See, and I did it again. I drew it square.
Let's see what you did.
No, I don't want to show you.
Okay, you don't want to do it again. Okay.
No. See, I see. The problem is I boxed the rib cage, and the rib cage really needs to be egged.
Yes. Okay.
If I egg it.
Well, not only that. Let me show you something I can do since I'm on Photoshop. Let me group all this stuff and hide it. I mess that up. Let me- Dementia. With just imagine you heard some reverb on that. There we go. There we go. Now I've got a fresh blank page. Almost.
I'm watching the big screen
Okay.
in front of me.
Oh, you are watching. I'll make myself
there's a little
big
bit of a
screen
delay.
here. I'll watch myself. I'll make myself solo here. Let me find the little notches up here. Solo layout. Ellis talks about the shoulder girdle. As you were saying, you are better off thinking of the rib cage being more like this. And as a matter of fact, think of that rib cage. Even you can even make it wimpy, because and let me show you a couple of things. Here's your clavicle, which is like I think you've even said it's kind of like a bicycle thing. And the other thing is you need these bones coming together, the scapula and that coming together to hold that shoulder joint. That is where it cups in. Those come together. Those can't be. I used to, when I was learning my figure drawing, I used to thought that scapula could roam a lot more than it does. It doesn't. So anyway, this is where more skeleton knowledge is important. There's this little knock, that little lump that's on that clavicle at that certain point. That is the end of the travel for the shoulder, whatever the term I'm forgetting how to use.
The deltoid?
The deltoid. That's it. That's what it goes to. It's done at that point. And then next to it and across the chest, as shown in some bridgemen, there are 3 points that your chest radiate out, but they all go under. And what's funny is they all wrapping around under there and going, I think, almost to the same point on the arm bone. So all of that leverage for doing those pressing the weight up over your head, your bench presses, all that leverage comes out of going to that one point, and that chest muscle being used going into that one point to yank on that arm. And the deltoid comes off and goes down to the same one point in 3 different, what they call heads. And the other one, I'm not showing the one on the scapula. But once you get that idea of rapid, there's one head. See that you get to think about this half of that head being on half of the clavicle and the scapula. The other one is totally on the clavicle, and then the other one comes off and it's just on the scapula. So those 3 heads, if you get that 3-headed look of having yourself nice and ripped up, that you'll know your shoulder at that point. But this egg of the thing, think of your sternum like that, and you can have a very wimpy looking construction, but then by the time you fill the guy in, he can. It's a good way to think about how all the muscles run into the rib cage too, is to start out with a few wimpy eggs and then do your muscle overlays on it. So I hope that helped anybody that tuned in tonight.
That was a good demonstration. What that told me is that I miss hanging out with Ellis.
Yeah. Well, and I hope I'm never too condescending, because you realize that
no
that on the hierarchy of guys that are lazy, I'm right up there with the dude. I am one of the world's laziest artists. I'm, I can hear Sam Shepard talking about me right now, saying, and the dude, he was lazy. He'd be right up there.
Well, first off, I know I said I didn't want to tell you because I knew you'd give me grief. I don't worry about that. That's no big deal. I did not. I said that very tongue in cheekly.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get I my thing is I'm just worried if I get better I'm good. you
Mm-hmm.
know but
Well,
I knew I was, and you had told me that a long time ago about it's got the deltoid has got cut into the chest, but
mm-hmm.
for some reason I had trouble. Uh, I don't shoulders just always giving me fits. Shoulders and
Well,
forearms.
it's semi complicated, but then when you realize that the shoulder and it's all that's complicated linkages have a parallel. Oh, Flyfox Pro, I have spoken down to Flyfox Pro. Okay, cancel. Yeah, General Grudge says hello, jerk. Nice to see you. Yeah, some big jerk is here too.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but that thing, if I can turn the layer off here, I don't know why Photoshop is giving me such fits because it's a student version. But another thing to do just for practice, these are drawings that you know they are, like you say that sketchbook you don't show anybody.
Yeah. Oh,
Imagine trying to put that clavicle and that scapula as close to up by your ears as you can in a couple of drawings and really compress what they can do. See, I've gone over the top here,
oh,
but when you do that,
yeah.
that gives you some new dynamics, and all of a sudden you're stretching those those chest muscles up to them, and you realize, yeah, that's kind of a cool notion. And of course, you would have those up for certain kind of
Yeah.
muscular acts, and that sort of thing makes you start treating that as something to play with a little more. And also, I was about to say that the you realize the similarities. What do they call that? Comparative anatomy between animals and people. Of course, that's all there. Anything you learn there can mostly be found in animals, but I don't believe most of them have clavicles. Most of the four-footed ones, but
I
the
don't think they do. Now that you mentioned that.
I don't think they do. For the most part, they have a different kind of substitute bit of sinew and stuff. But but comparatively anatomy wise, the deltoid is your butt muscle. Your if you think about it, and you've got your bicep migrates to the back of your leg, and that tricep is on the front of your leg in terms of
Hmm.
like its activity. So yeah, you comparatively anatomy wise, you are looking at some uh, unwasted thinking on how to build something. It's found throughout nature, and it's found a couple of times in you. So it's you know it's it is worthwhile. You never get so you know everything. You know me. I'm always
Yeah.
copying gifs and everything of stuff that I think show a great way of showing something.
Well, I think that's the thing, and it goes back to what we were talking earlier about Reed and Bridgman.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're an artist, I'm always and I know a few. We know a few artists who they've gotten to a point, and they never seem to do any better, do any
Yeah, no,
to
no, you
try.
have.
They
It's difficult to kick yourself off a plateau. It is.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they get to the point. It's like they get to a point to where they feel like they are good and they stop.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
Well,
like,
I
and
can't
in
draw.
reality, what's happened? I think the ones that I know,
Just raised my
what
hand.
happened
Yeah, go ahead.
is, oh, no. I think the ones that I know, they tend to get trapped by a style, and they find a style that either works for them or whatever, and then they don't progress artistically. And you look at their work, and you're like, well,
What's happening
you
here?
did something. Yeah, you did something 10 years ago, looked identical.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll go, well, I got this big study where I'm studying, and for my study I'm doing I don't know, whatever, Harry Potter drawings or whatever, and you just look at it, it's
Yeah.
like, looks like every other drawing you do, you
Yeah,
know.
you've got to look kind of deep sometimes on what you need, and what I need, of course, I you need muscle memory on rendering if you want to be a guy that can render. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sit down and decide that the way David Finch renders is for you, or if you if you were to really want to hurt your head and try to turn yourself into Bernie Wrightson, you've got a ways to go. You've got to.
But do you want to be a guy that renders? Because I don't think
Well,
you want
that's
to.
no, I don't want to, but someone
Yeah.
else that has got a list of artists that they really admire. Look at that list. If they are people that can do things that you just don't have a dream of doing, what's keeping you from working on the talent stack? Here I am, my Scott Adams. That you need to be working on to get there. And
I,
and a
I
lot of the yeah, go ahead.
well, I was going to say I think all artists, or I do at least. But I think all artists should have two lists of favorite artists or whatever artists they like or admire or whatever, and
Hmm.
one of them should be artists they want to draw like.
Someone
And
you want to be a clone of. That's right.
people, well, or people you want to learn from, and
Yeah,
then some of them should be artists you don't want to draw like, but you
yeah.
still like their work.
Hmm.
I like Jeff Darrow's work, but I have zero desire. Forget about the detail, because for a long time I tried to draw like him, just the way he draws. I liked his
Hmm.
drawing, and I realized some of what I liked about it was he has a real he has a European style, and that appealed to me. But I don't really want to draw like that, but I like his
Uh-huh.
work. Now at this point that I've seen it for, what, 20, 30 years, it's getting a little long in the tooth on me, because there's not a lot there, in my opinion. I mean, he puts a lot of detail, but there's just not a lot to look at, in my opinion, to study.
General
Uh,
Grudge says, don't copy General Grudge. No,
don't co- the
no, no.
but
Sherm Cohen, who taught storyboard classes, who was an art director on SpongeBob, he called it eating your hero's brains. That's how you do it. You gotta go ahead and dive in. In fact, one of Sherm Cohen's main tips on if you want to be a storyboard artist, uh, do that 10,000 hours on drawing that character that you're going to be tasked with drawing. Make sure you've got that guy to where it's like second nature to draw that guy.
Oh gosh, it's a lot of time to draw
Ye-
one character.
well, yeah, I say 10,000 hours. If you're a quick study and you've been cartooning a long time, it won't be that long.
It'll be over before you know it. The but
LDK, how true it is, but for some reason, Keanu Reeves was in OKC yesterday. I wonder if he's going to be involved with.
what?
That's what
Get out
that's
of
what
here!
Natasha International says, and
Really?
I wonder if he's going to be in on the Killer of the Flower Moon, the
That
Scorsese
hadn't
movie.
started. That didn't start filming for a couple months,
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't start. Yeah, you're right.
so
Oh,
he wouldn't be
he's
in town.
wouldn't be in
He
town
wouldn't
for
be in town
that.
for that unless he's involved behind the scenes,
Hmm.
producing or something. But
Oh
I don't.
no,
I don't know.
yeah.
Huh? That's interesting. He picked a great day. The weather sucks,
Oh yeah, it did.
but
Natasha, are you up by Tulsa? Is that the difference that you got a tornado alert? Sometimes we might be getting nailed by it basically in a couple of minutes. So if you are got the alert, I may hear the siren go off here
not if it's
shortly.
in Tulsa.
I tell you what, the that tornado alley and Scott can tell you all about it. It's a very real thing because it seems to like a certain path.
Yeah.
It nailed Scott and his company's area up toward
Oh, yeah,
more Oklahoma. And
couple times. Yeah. So my wife and I here at the house have had tornadoes hit in the 20 years we've lived here. We've had 2 tornadoes hit within a mile. I mean, like touch down and do damage within a mile of the house, which is pretty good odds if you think about it like that. But my work, I've been at the office and gone into our tornado area, which is not a safe room.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a brick area, which is probably safer than my office because my office has windows.
Yeah.
But
anything getting you away from glass, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be in my office, and I'm on the ground floor of a building, so if it collapsed, it'd be bad news. But we've gone. I'm trying to think of what the closest that one's hit. It's been within a couple of miles of my work, but I have sat in that area and watched on the radar the tornado coming towards us and had it turn. So
yeah.
I mean, it's something. It's a.
Oh, they're terrifying. The idea of actually being hit by a tornado is nobody should be callous about it. I remember there was this guy I ran into, and it was some party situation that I can't even tell you the details about it, but he was like from Australia, and he learned I was from Oklahoma, and the conversation got to tornadoes somehow. And he wanted to he wanted to experience a tornado and get right up to it, maybe throw something in it. And it's like, well,
he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't understand.
Didn't get it.
It doesn't stop at the. It doesn't stop at the. You get within 2 miles of it, and it's.
They look kind
half
of neat.
a mile.
Yeah,
100-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, they look kind of neat and collected from a distance, but you get in close to them, and they're driving nails out of wheat straw into you. Yeah.
Yeah. And the problem is what you see is the the debris in the funnel or whatever, but there's really a lot more going on.
Oh yeah. No, people don't realize when. I mean, you do realize it when temperature drops by a few degrees, but I mean the difference between.
Today's a perfect day for one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just it was warm and then it got cold, but
you get that energy.
Get that rolling effect going on, and but that what was I going to say? That I have forgotten what I was going to say. Oh well, forget it. I have. Oops. I almost blocked you, Five Locks, bro, because I clicked the wrong button.
Oh, no.
A few years ago, a tornado touched down in a park near here in Phoenix and ripped up some pretty huge trees. Oh, yeah, they'll do it. They will do it.
They'll trees, and they're pretty deadly. But having said that, I would if there was one coming near me, I probably would not go to a shelter.
Yeah, Natasha International. You remember when I sent around that link about our big studio, and we may have even discussed it last time of that used to be our big civic center. Is now being leased on several stages, and of course they're old basketball courts, and you can imagine what a big sound stage that would make.
It's a big convention center that has a large arena floor that was basketball and
hockey,
hockey, and that sort of thing. A lot of concerts, seated, like 20,000 people, 25,000 people. So you have one big area, and then off to the side, it's got a bunch of really big
Mm-hmm.
rooms. And so it would probably be suited for something like that. But yeah, Oklahoma has really done a lot. And I have a friend who works for the tourism department, and they've really invested a lot of money and resources into trying to lure productions here. And they've had some pretty good success. You know, I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
Georgia can do it, why can't Oklahoma?
Oh
What's the
yeah,
difference?
sure. I mean, the big this may be the place you'd want to send some drug addicted star. They'd get here and they'd be so damn bored that they and with trying to find the scene here where all the junkies were hanging out. He just wouldn't be able to find any of them. Well, unfortunately, that's not true.
First off,
Yeah.
first off, you had the most interesting takes on stuff, Ellis.
Yeah, well, thank you, thank you.
But I know. I have suspicions that
Oh no, yeah, you could stay drug
that
addicted
they would
here.
find. Yeah, if you were drug addicted, you would
Yeah,
find. Yeah. Hey, did you ever go down there, Ellis?
to
Downtown?
needle value. No, no, no,
Well,
not
you
not
said you were
not
going
just
to.
real recently. No, I
Oh,
like
well,
it.
you were talking about that
I was
last
planning on it, but
Wednesday.
I
You were
didn't
going to
do
go
it.
down there the next day.
Dang it! You mentioned trying to get some storyboard work. Yeah, what are you talking about, Flatbox? Well, I did mention it. I'm trying to think
Yes.
if I dropped that on Twitter or not.
No.
Oh
No.
yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
here?
You're right.
You
Last week I
said
said, yeah, you're
we
right.
talked about it, and you said I'm going to go down there and see what's going on, see if I can get some storyboard work. And I said,
There
well,
we go.
wait till Friday, and I'll go with you. And you said I'm going to go tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. I think I did say that, didn't I? But I
Yep.
thought I had a weather forecast that indicated I should go, and then it was
Yeah.
totally backwards. It was wrong. Yeah, yeah. That
I I need to go down there. I'm getting my oil changed Friday, but I think after I do that, I may go. I got some stuff I need to do. Um, I've heard a rumor that Triangle A&E is going out of business.
oh. Well, every time we walk in there, I say, how can this place even continue to do
Well,
anything?
every time we walk in there, I spend, you know,
Yeah, money.
quite a bit of money because I don't want them to go out of business. But
Yeah.
someone had that. Oh, Mike Kennedy called me the other day, and he was
Oh,
telling me
really?
that. Yeah, he was having 3D problems.
Hmm. 3D problems. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, problems with 3D printer.
Oh, okay.
3D. He was he. So I'm in charge of our 3D department at work, and so he was having trouble getting something to print. So he asked me to what I thought, which I my opinion was he didn't have the right software. You need a driver for a 3D printer. You can. I
Yeah,
mean,
you need all those drivers,
I
right? Hey,
yeah.
General Grudge
Well,
has a question for you.
for
Since I
me,
quit, yeah, it says since I
uh,
quit Twitter and Instagram, I'm out of the loop. Ellis, can you ask Scott if he got the Burn Generations Omnibus? I think you
uh,
did, didn't you?
n- no, I did not. Um, the reason why I haven't got it is because I have a bunch of omnibuses,
Mm-hmm.
and they end up on my coffee table because they're and I don't have room for another one.
Uh-huh.
I honestly I liked the third series in that. I was a little lukewarm towards one and two though. I'm not a DC guy, but
Yeah.
I thought the third one was really good. Rather I would rather see the third one as a trade than have the omnibus of all three.
Hmm.
I like Burns' art in the third one. He was, and someone asked him this. He was trying to ink with a different tool, and so it had a little bit heavier inking, and I
Mm-hmm.
kind of liked it. But the first two, I don't know, they just didn't do a lot for me. I got them. I have the originals. I guess they're on a prestige format or whatever. But
Yeah, I mean it's you gotta call your shots on really big books. Oh, speaking of which, and I meant to have it handy. I've got Naples' book was sitting on the porch earlier today. Fight the Fish. I've got another big, beautiful Naples book, and I so look forward to my unboxing of that on this channel. It will arrive maybe tonight. I don't know.
You got to be undrawn and quartered.
Oh, that's right. I'll have a perfectly good excuse if I don't show up on drawn and quartered. I forgot.
Oh wow! Oh,
that's
hang
not
on.
A good
you can get that omnibus really cheap.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, that's
you just now did a search. Heretic.
Yeah. Well, so
General Grudge called you a heretic. I think he's referring to something.
Yeah,
something you said.
That I don't like DC, or that I didn't care. I like the third one, not the first and second. I thought the third one was the best of the whole run of those.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tempting price. I mean, that's a great price on Amazon. It's even off on Amazon. I mean, even cover price doesn't look to be that much. Gosh, tempting.
Yeah, that Amazon gets you really quick. It's like, you mean I could have this tomorrow?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I know. I was looking at something today, and yeah, it was my problem is I sit at work and I listen to podcasts, and they'll mention like some book, and I look, it's like, oh, I could order that. Yeah.
Have it sent here. Write it off on my taxes.
Yeah, I'm not doing that right now. But speaking of, I got I got sent the cover for issue 1 of Heaven's Rejects.
Oh, really?
It was a little different.
Didn't sugar your coffee, did it? Or I'm trying to come up with a term.
Yes, it did not sugar my coffee.
It was a bad term. We don't want that out there. Okay.
No.
Oh yeah. Natasha International. She's waiting on her book. You'll get it, I bet you.
Oh, the
someone probably here wrote a comment on my other unboxing video of the black and white version. I think it may be a Fly Fox, maybe I don't know who did it. But they were really bugged by how I dug into that box and just kind of ripped it open. I didn't mean to rip it open, but
you did.
But they
it's your box.
Yeah, it's my box. But the thing, I have found that box tricky to open before, and I just happened to start in on the wrong end of it, and I just stuck with it in terms of like getting into it, and that required kind of damaging the box. But I understand someone being really bugged by that, because he goes to such trouble to get this nice packaging in our hands.
But is the box special?
Oh yeah, the box is very special. It's got all kinds of silk screened or printed stuff all over it. It's really.
But would you have kept it? I mean, I would have kept it.
I am. It is hard not to keep them. Yeah, I've got them. Even though I've got it stored out in the garage, it's it's too big to say, okay, this is always going to be connected to the book, and to put the book in it. That's just too much. The books themselves are so big.
That's how I feel about those artist edition books. I mean, I've got them but it's like they're too big to just like keep the books in. The books are those oversized books are difficult. I sent you that third or that cover, Ellis.
Oh, you did? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I want to look at it. You want me to look at it now and give you a critique?
Yeah, check it out and tell me what you think.
Okay.
It is not what you expect.
All
I'll
right.
tell you that right now. But
Sent
you're always
from my iPad. Oh, well, now this is interesting because I don't find too much fault with the little thumbnail of it. Let me look at it.
Oh, okay.
Because it is at least it is a strong, you can thank the guy for at least having a strong design sense and drawing the eye. You know what, Scott? I don't mind that at all.
Okay.
I think that is a very striking cover. Now, I guess you are not ready to share this around, are you?
How many viewers we got? Throw it up there. Throw it up
Throw it
there.
up there. Okay, I'll share
Yeah,
this
throw it up
screen
there.
because people are saying, "Well, show it to us." We're your
Are they? Are people saying?
yeah. I mean, all two of them. Yeah,
Both
yeah.
of them. We want to see
Okay.
it. Show.
Okay, here we go. Let's see, share screen.
Share. Yeah, you gotta share the screen.
Here we go.
Do not tell Greg Wright.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
he's.
Oh, there it is. Oh, well. Look, I actually by bringing it up over my my Photoshop, I've oh, there it is on the camera. Anyway, here we go. I am sharing it. I was trying to figure out how to share the screen again, and here I'll do it. I'll do it properly. Let me find the. Oh, here it is. Here's how I do it. Here we go. No, I still can't figure it out. Full screen layout. Here we go. And now I got to share a different one. Mm-hmm. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
This is riveting. Okay, there's your screen.
Yeah, there's my screen.
I'm watching it on the TV, so I'm a minute or so behind.
Oh, good Lord! I'll tell you.
I'm looking
here,
live.
Finally, I finally found stop screen, and now my options to share. Oh, here we go. I am so sorry, people, but I only do this once a week after all.
Exactly.
Here we go. Oh, no. Here we go. There it is. Okay. Now, how about that? Can you see it?
I can see it on my. I don't see. It's not on the. My TV is lagged, but there it goes.
What do you think, people? Now, see that? It's pure silhouette. With
there you go. Take that off. Yeah.
Take it off?
No. The Fly Fox Pro's comment was blocking part of it.
Yeah.
So it will have trade dress on it, of course.
Yeah. It'll have other stuff on it.
It's not. I didn't know what to expect. He told me the guy did kind of designy stuff, and so I love it.
I love it. It draws your eye, and it says, "What's inside this?" I like it. The only thing I can think of is like, should the font and everything just be a little stronger, take up a little more landscape, or not? I think the tail almost is a little too out of control on it. I disagree with Ellis here. I don't see this as the best thing to sell a comic to a customer. Now, that's General Grudge, but General Grudge is so angry with the world, he quit Twitter. I'm kidding. I've quit Twitter twice now. What can I tell you? And I'm still off of Facebook.
I don't comment on Twitter. I cross post like Instagram stuff, but I just don't like Twitter as a concept.
Yeah.
No.
Anybody else got a comment? I disagree. Well, I mean, for all I know, General Grudge is the only guy in the room. So,
yeah. It's funny you say that about the tail on the logo, because that was one of my objections to that logo. Was I thought the tail would interfere with the art, and I think we see that a little bit. Yeah, here.
We do see it as it takes up so much room. You don't want it overlapping her.
Right.
and it makes the rest of it too small
Yes.
to
It's
reduce it that far.
Well, it's
So
going to
the
have
that,
some sort. It's going to have trade dress. So
mhm,
on either side of that will be the publisher's logo. The publisher's logo is like, imagine two squares on either side of that. One of them would have the
mhm,
price and that information. The other side would have their logo.
mhm.
You know. So I mean, there's room. I kind of want. I don't know if there'll be anything else on the cover. Um, you know, it's
Mhm.
it's it's different. It's not. I didn't know what to expect. It's not what I expected, but it's like the coloring. The coloring has grown on me.
Mhm.
Initially, I saw it, I thought, "Wow, that's really
Bl-
bright," and then
black and yellow is, of course, your after white and black is the best signage color.
is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the consensus is that that is the best read you can have. So,
Yeah, yeah. This is
so
um,
it makes it real. It makes it real, doesn't it? Yeah, I
yeah, it
mean,
does.
my I've got quibbles aplenty on anything I see, but I like this. I like this. It's
Okay.
I could knock it for this or that. I like the color hold of the extra texture
Oh yeah.
mimicry that's going on. It's a lot of fun. It's good. It gives it uh, it's still graphic and yet it's got another plane that makes it interesting. That's the only
Yeah.
thing I think
I'm,
of that might go on that needs to go on. Maybe there's another of that distant plane that could go on behind the Heaven's Rejects type, maybe that
yeah, I don't
would
know.
continue that.
Yeah, I don't know. My only well, and I'm so hung up on here's what I think a comic should look like, and it's predicated, like I said early on, by how to draw comics the Marvel
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
And
General Grudge is got a point. In his newsstand days, this would never been a cover that would have attracted someone's attention on the rack.
I agree. I agree because it's not because there's no story to it.
Yeah,
That's probably my thing is I would have preferred something with an illustration or even this with a big blurb that said who are the Heaven's Rejects or something like that,
yeah. The only thing to maybe do this a little differently is to knock back maybe a Heaven's Rejects behind a little bit of texture and have her get another quarter size bigger. Just have her head go up to the top of the E and spread out. Well, no, you couldn't get her that much bigger. You could crop her wings for that matter if it made her more of a cell. You want her in there, and a person tends to not realize that they think they're doing something wrong if they crop something like that. But that's kind of powerful. That leads the eye in. If you've got something art that begins outside the border and comes in, it guides your eye in. No, hey,
yeah.
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to at some point I'm going to redesign this and then present it to you and say, what do you think? What I did to it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of with General Grudge, but again, like I say, my tastes are predicated by the how to draw comics Marvel way, and so and my problem with this is well, hopefully it'll be sold at a con near you, and I'll be there, and you can come introduce yourself, General Grudge, and
Yeah, yeah,
I'll sign it for you.
yeah, yeah.
But and so to me, a cover should tell a story, and this doesn't really. I mean, it's I don't know, but again, I'm not these guys. The guy that's doing it and the writer are they're more in touch with what's they go out to cons and sell books every weekend, so I'm putting my fate in their hands on this deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I
Yeah.
said, I wasn't
Send
on
feedback.
board.
Send feedback. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I wasn't in sync with the colorist until I started putting the balloons on it, and I
Mm-hmm.
realized that the white balloons really broke up the coloring and made it look. It made it,
Yeah.
it muted
Yeah.
it a lot. I thought it was too bright, and it muted it quite a bit. And so now I've gotten to where it's like, man, I really like it because it's bright enough that it looks good. I mean, it looks different.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Scott, I'm a hermit. Unless you're in Western North Carolina, I'll probably miss you. Well, I'll be the one that misses you, General Grush. I hate.
He won't be in West North Carolina.
Well, no. The loss will be mine. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. They mentioned earlier.
I'll make sure you get one somehow. We'll work it
Firefox
out.
Pro mentions Gary Shipman earlier, and so does General Grudge underneath. He says that Gary is gold. Yeah, Gary Shipman is extremely talented. When I joined him on those drawn in quarters, he would always do a take that was, he does things where he just doesn't try to force himself into something. You tell him tonight we're going to draw this or that superhero. He comes at it from something where he can be Bill Watterson doing Calvin and Hobbes versions of things. He's got a lot of depth in terms of like what he draws from, and he's great at rendering. If he gets doing washes and stuff, he's just really good at that. But he's also good. He's also,
but I'm looking at his art. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he does something called Titan, about a little mouse. It's kind of a Mighty Mouse.
I've seen that.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. It's kind of like if Frank Miller did it. Yeah, we've been at it a while, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time to end. Yeah. Let's sing the Roy Rogers song. You ready?
Happy trip.
Hey, you know what I'm talking about. You aren't that old. There we go.
I've heard the Van Halen version.
There we go. Okay, everybody. We are out of here. I guess you want to say anything, Scott? You're trying to tell everybody to join your channel.
Yeah, join my YouTube channel if you haven't already.
Subscribe.
I'm going to start working my way on the channel through How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It'll be interesting when we get to the cover chapter. But hopefully I don't have enough subscribers to do it live. But that's my long-term goal. But I really want to do something that is interesting, that I learn from, and hopefully some viewers will enjoy. So I'd encourage you to check that out.
You'll be able to watch me tonight. Our audience will be able to watch me as I put the mouse up on end broadcast and say, we'll see you then. Yeah, everybody, thanks for coming by. It's always good to see the familiar faces and watch Drawn in Quarter tonight. Bye-bye.